This is Tina with Loving Life's Little Blessings, and we are talking today about, I wanted to share with you guys what supplies that I have that work for me for Project Life. Now, this isn't going to work for everybody, and I'm definitely not saying that this is what you need to do in order to do Project Life. I've already shared with you guys the very basic products that you need to do Project Life. So if you get those products, you'll be fine. That you can just use those. You don't need anything else. But I wanted to share with you guys what I have found works for me. And in order for you to understand what I use or how what items are in my supplies, you really have to understand why I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and how Stampin' Up! Has really played a huge part in my crafting, how I've evolved as a crafter. So I'm gonna try to give you the short version. I sort of like to talk to you guys. So I'm gonna try to give you the short version. But what happened is I've been crafting for a really long time, 16, 17 years now, and I was just a scrapbooker. That's really all I did. That's all I had the desire to do. I had plenty to scrapbook, and when I didn't, I made stuff up. But that's where I was. I didn't do cards. I didn't do home decor. I didn't do DIY projects. There was no Pinterest. There was, not a lot of blogs that were out there I was following. I just mainly scrapbooked, and I loved it, and had a really good time doing it. And so because of that, I collected a lot of supplies. So I was at Michael's and Joann's and Beverly's and Hobby Lobby all of the time. I was really just purchasing a lot. I had an entire room dedicated to that hobby, and I loved it, and I loved all the supplies. I really love patterned paper, and I had a lot of it. And so I was okay with it. I was okay with collecting all of those things, purchasing all of those things, finding all of those things. I didn't really purchase from online, in the online avenue in the beginning, but I did have quite a few supplies. So then what happened is I got married, and I had a baby, and I started really wanting and desiring to do more paper crafting, not just scrapbooking. I wanted to start making cards. I wanted to start using my supplies in other areas of, my crafting. I wanted to step out of my comfort zone and do things. I was seeing more things that I wanted to do. And also, I wanted to share what I was doing with other people. So I wanted to teach classes, or I was looking for an avenue in which I could share and teach, and it would somehow profit me. I never thought I'm going to be a millionaire doing it, but I definitely wanted to find that balance. And so what happened is, about 4 or 5 years ago, I was looking for ink pads, and I had wanted to start stamping, and I had a little collection of stamps, and I wanted to find some ink pads. And so I began searching for those, and what I found is I didn't really want to spend $7 or $8 on an ink pad in a store that I would just have to replace in a couple months. And so I called a local Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I said, can you come do a workshop for me? And she did. She came out, and we made a card. We stamped with a card, and I fell in love with cherry cobbler cardstock. Honestly, when she came, I said, I don't really want to know about anything else. I just want to know, about the ink pads. I'm really interested in them. I loved the ink pads. I loved how they worked, and loved cherry cobbler cardstock. And then I found that everything with Stampin' Up! Coordinates. So you have ribbon and ink and paper and markers, and it all coordinates. And I thought, how easy is that? Wow, that's amazing. And so I thought, So after she did the workshop, what I did is I placed a small order on the clearance rack and got some of the products and tried it out and really loved it. The cardstock was amazing. It cut great on my Cricut. I would always say, I am loving Stampin' Up! I just love it. And so then the other thing that I realized is, wow, I can just order this anytime I need it, and it comes right to my house. That's pretty cool. That's amazing. And so I really started purchasing more Stampin' Up! Product. And I also found that Stampin' Up! Coordinates well with other product that I already had. So it was really easy to use it with the other product I had. So then, as time went on and I started getting more into the Stampin' Up! Product, what I decided for myself is I had way too much stuff. So about a year and a half after using Project Life, or using Stampin' Up! Product, what happened is I decided to become a demonstrator, and I decided to do this as a business. So I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I do it as a business. I make money every month from doing it. And I love it. I would not do this if I didn't love it. I would never, honestly, it's not worth it to me to do something or promote something that I don't love and that I don't really use. And so, I became a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And what I found is that I had way too much stuff. I just had a lot of crafting supplies that I was not using them. And I loved them. I loved all the pattern paper that I had, but I really was not using them. And so I really went through my room and I cleaned it out. I'm going to show you guys some stuff. We're going to talk about my Project Life product and where I have it. But what happened is I just went through my room and I just started getting rid of stuff. I sold a lot of stuff and invested it into my business, just stuff that I wasn't using. And I did hang on to some things that I did use, that I loved. What I also found is that I am a pretty typical crafter. I go for what I love. I go for the same products all the time. I don't venture out a lot. So what was the point of having 900 punches that I never used? So that's what I did. So I went ahead and got rid of a lot of stuff and decided I only want stuff that I'm really going to use. So then when I got into Project Life, what I found is that the same thing. Stampin' Up! Colors work really well with Project Life product. It just does. I find it very easy to work with it. And then also, by doing Project Life and instead of working in 12 by 12, in the 12 by 12 format, I'm working in a smaller format, and so I can use stamps easier in that format, and so I really enjoy that. So it sort of what Stampin' Up! Did is, and what Project Life did is, I was able to blend everything that I loved into one. So I do still have a basket, and I'm going to show you this, of non-Stampin' Up! Product that I have I enjoy using, or that I've kept, or Stampin' Up! Doesn't make everything out there, so I do have some things that, if I see something that I think is really cool and I want to use it, I do go ahead and purchase it. So mainly when you look at my supplies, you're going to see that I use Project Life for my scrapbooking, and then I sprinkle in all my Stampin' Up! Stuff. So it's really easy to put my stamps and my colors, and it all come together. So I really, that's where I'm at. And I know I don't want anybody to feel like, well, that's what you have to do. You have to get rid of all your stuff to do Project Life or anything like that. I have just found a really good balance. I'm very creative in other ways. So part of loving scrapbooking and loving the creative aspect of it, I get asked this a lot. Do you miss the creative aspect of those 12 by 12 layouts? And the answer is no, I don't, because I have so many other places in my life that are creative. I have other projects, altered projects, cards, other things, gifts that I'm making that allow me to be creative. And so for me, I'm able to step up my scrapbooking, and I'm documenting more of our life and doing it more efficiently and more effectively than I was doing when I was doing really elaborate layouts. And I will share with you, I don't know if this is good or bad, but I am working on a friend's wedding album, and it's mostly 12 by 12 traditional pages. And I thought, oh, this will be fun. I haven't really done 12 by 12 traditional pages in a long time, and so it'll be fun to do and kind of, get back to doing that. And I have to tell you, it's not that I hate it. It's not that I'm like, oh, I just dread it. But I found that I don't miss it. It's a lot more difficult than I remember. And coming up with new ideas and new layouts, and we're going through, and I'm like, I am done. I just want to be done with this. Like, I just want to document your memories, and I want to be done. And all this elaborate stuff, it's not what's important, and for me it's not. So that's how my supplies work. And I would love to hear you guys, how I'm loving that you guys are sharing and commenting on YouTube and the blog and Facebook. I would love to hear what are your supplies like. So do you feel overwhelmed by the amount of supplies you have? Do you find it really easy when you're getting all of the different supplies from all the different companies? Do they mesh well? Do they work well together? Where are you guys? What do you think? I just would love to hear back from you. So I'm going to go ahead and stop yakking, and I'm going to show you guys all of my product and how I organize it. So I have two, well, let's just cut this off and we'll get into the stuff, and then I'll explain it, okay? So I'll be right back, and we'll jump into product and organization.